Welcome to the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. This episode is brought to you by Authors Unite. Authors Unite makes the process of becoming a published best-selling author as simple as sipping your morning cup of coffee. You can learn more about Authors Unite at authorsunite.com. Now, let's jump into the episode. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. Today, I have Dr. Jaime with us. She is a life coach, speaker, author, and podcast host who helps you increase your success, happiness, and likability. So welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Glad to be here.
Of course. Glad to have you here. We'll dive right into the first one. The first one I have for you is, what is the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
Yeah, so I took some time to think about this. It's actually probably, believe it or not, when my dad left the family. So I was about 12, and my parents got divorced, and it shook my world. It shook my world in respect to God, what I thought God was, what I thought a man was, and what I thought a family was. And I saw my mom, having never worked a day in her life, nor did she go to college, now have to raise two girls with $5 in her bank account. And she did it. And I think we're doing all right there, Tyler. And so what I learned from that is that whether you're a woman or for me, it was a woman point of view, but you guys out there listening, you have to get educated and you have to get experience under you. You have to be independent. And then from a woman's perspective, mine was like, okay, I'm going to get married, and God forbid my husband never leaves me or passes away. I have education and experience to fall back on, so I don't have to kind of do some of the things that my mom did and struggle the way that she did, that I can be independent. Even in a marriage, I can still be a little bit separate. And I did that, and it's worked out pretty damn well. I don't know if I can swear on your podcast.
No, you can swear. No, that's fine. I really appreciate you sharing that with us. So, so we'll go to the next one, Jaime. The next one is, I'm excited for your answer on this because, just from your intro, like you do a lot. So what is the most valuable piece of information we should know that's within your expertise or industry?
Okay, so I am a life coach, and I am also a professor and an author and all these other great things, but all of it is surrounded by positivity and energy. And so if you have to know one thing, it's that energy and happiness are real things. And so the energy that you push out is going to come back to you, and just spend your life trying to find ways to be happy. It doesn't mean doing stupid stuff and just quitting your job and traveling the world. If you can do that, that's great. But find ways every day to find and peak your happiness. So push out the right energy and do things that make you happy.
Yes, I could not agree more. Like, definitely, it's like I always tell people, like, giving is receiving. I think they're kind of like interchangeable. So like, if you put out into the universe like happiness and you're giving, like even if it's not directly coming back to you, eventually it always does. Like, it's just the way the universe works, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
So the next one is what's your best piece of overall business advice? So not necessarily industry specific.
Know your value. Absolutely. Everyone out there, know the weight that you carry, how important you are, how valuable you are. A lot of times, especially when we start out, we we devalue ourselves and our business and what we have to offer. And of course, the prices that you charge, the rates that you charge, the services that you offer will go up over time with experience and education, but never and I'm going to talk about this later, but it ties hand in hand with being able to speak up. So I guess my biggest overarching tip here is know your value and the weight that you carry in this world.
And if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
Yep, that was it. It was speak up. Oh my gosh, I failed to do this so much. And it's probably costed me tens and tens of thousands of dollars. And probably way, way, way more than that actually. And when I realized all you have to do is ask, most people are actually going to give you what you want when you ask the right way. So speak up and ask for what you want. Tell people when you don't want to do something, but no matter what you do in everything, whether it's a coupon at your local grocery store or asking an investor to, give you more of something, just speak up and ask because chances are in your favor.
And I'm excited for your answer on this one. So in your opinion, what is the key to happiness?
Can I swear on your podcast?
Yeah,
I know I have to.
Swear away. Go for it.
Stop doing shit you hate.
And,
so
yeah,
that's it. Just stop doing shit that you hate.
Yeah, you know what? I actually really like that answer. Now, in some cases, like I think we all sometimes have to do things we don't love, right? And
Of course.
but I think maybe the point, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but I think sometimes we get into these cycles or rhythms that we're not even aware we're in. A prime example of that would be working a 9 to 5. Now we all have bills. We got to make ends meet. So if you have to do a job you don't like for a while to be able to do a job you do like in the future, makes sense and that's fine. But I think if you're in a job that you hate for 5 years or something, that's way too long. And we just we don't realize what we're doing because it just becomes a routine. So I think happiness is something you choose, and you almost have to check in with yourself. Am I doing everything I can to be happy, or am I stuck in a routine that's making me unhappy? You know what I mean?
That's exactly it. And so let me ask you this. Do you believe it's already October? I can't believe it. I don't know about you. But
I know. I thought 2018 just started.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's a lot of people that are doing things that they absolutely don't like. And they're like, okay, just a few more months. And now they're sitting here listening and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe it's October. And then they're going to say, okay, the first of the year, I'm going to make changes the first of the year. Okay, but wait, I get my bonus the first of the year. So you know what? Let's do it after the first quarter of the year. And then they're sucked in. And that's that cycle you're talking about. And the cycles aren't usually 90 days. The cycles are you're looking back and you're like, I spent 10 years doing this. Oh my goodness. So if you're in that cycle, get out now. Let October be January 1 for you and just take the leap now and start doing stuff you like.
Yes, I love that. You definitely do not have to wait for January 1st to do anything. It can definitely happen now. So the next one I have for you is, what is the best book that you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from it?
The best book I ever read was Knowing Your Value by Mika Brzezinski, and she teaches you how to speak up and know your value and the weight that you carry, which is kind of some of the stuff that we covered. So for everyone out there, I would highly recommend, after you read my book, The Superwoman's Guide to Super Fulfillment, you then go out and you read Mika Brzezinski's book. I think she's the co-host of The Morning Joe, Knowing Your Value.
Awesome. And what is your favorite quote and why?
So I'm a quote freak. So I was thinking his show is not long enough. It would have to be 2 days long for me to read you all the quotes. So I just really picked a simple one. And I actually don't even know. I think it's one of those unknown quotes, but it's the grass isn't greener on the other side. It's greener where you water it. And I think if there's anything sort of deficient in your life, thinking about your marriage or your work, sometimes we're not putting in enough effort into it. We think we are because it's draining, but we're not putting in the right kind of effort and the right kind of love into it. And sometimes if you water what you already have, you'll realize you've got the blessings right in front of you.
Ooh, that's a good one. I have not heard that one before. That is very good.
Awesome.
Thank you for sharing that. The last question I have for you before we let you go is, where is the best place for people to find you online?
Oh my goodness, you can go to drjaimek.com, DRJAIME, the letter K.com. And if you like this podcast, you might like my podcast, The Dr. Jaime Show, on all your favorite podcast apps.
Perfect. Thank you again for hopping on.
Awesome. Thank you.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.